My hands are sweaty. That's crazy.
He's like an integral part of when it comes to your career, where things are going towards the future. It's like he informs so much of this.
You nailed it.
Awesome.
You're talking about my father. His name is Michael, and he passed away in his 50s. He wanted me to be successful. And he would be like, you're gonna sing and you're gonna play the flute. And I was like, but I don't know how to sing. He's like, you're gonna sing anyway.
Figure it out, yep.
I feel like that is actually still happening.
I agree,
you know?
Absolutely. And when he comes through, he's still so involved in your career. It makes
So involved.
So he's having me talk about you, and then I'm saying family responsibilities.
There's a whole list of them.
Sure. But he's having me bring out the sisters. You would be one of like two sisters.
Yes, one of two sisters.
He's having me talk about a very important emphasis on location. For some reason, he's putting one of them separate. I don't really know how to describe this, figure out what this is.
My sister and I, we were in two different cities, and my father was in a different city when he passed away.
Okay, that makes sense. He's having me talk about a delay in informing someone of his passing. And there's this whole thing that's coming through about like someone who should have gotten immediately notified, or it's like everybody else is informed except this one person.
I'm so afraid of this one moment that happened in my life that I'm afraid of every moment now. I was the last to know.
Gotcha.
I missed the phone call.
Ah, okay.
It was very jarring. I was in the shower.
Gotcha.
And I had all these missed phone calls.
Wow.
And then I called my sister, and she just goes, "Dad's dead!" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, that's not the way you say that to somebody." And I just remember I like threw my phone down.
Gotcha.
And I was so upset.
I can't imagine having to go through that.
It's like, that's not the way I should have heard that.
Exactly, and he didn't want you to hear it in that way. And there's just this feeling of like, I'm sorry that that was your introduction to grief. Because that shouldn't have been the case.
Thank you.
So please know in this way, he's very aware of the circumstances. He just didn't want to leave a mess with this situation. And
I was not expecting to need to hear that. It was just something that I was like, oh, this is how it happened. This is how death happens. But like the trauma in that small moment
of course
has affected me in so many ways. I just feel such a release right now knowing that he knew that that was going on and that it's a part of my experience with his death.
Exactly.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, well, you know, that's kind of the power of grief. We grieve in different ways as time goes on, and I hope that at the very least there's comfort in knowing that he knew what you were going through. He sees that. And he's so proud of you for being able to handle all of this despite that.
Wow.
That's huge.
That was massive, Tyler.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad.
I can breathe.
So there's a song called This Town, and it's on the last record that I made. So I kind of wanted in the beginning of the song to kind of evoke this front porch feel, a gritty, just a moment, a story, just to kind of like lead into the song. And I was going through my voice notes one day because I just record things all the time, and I came across this story that I had completely forgotten about. One night sitting at my parents' house, and it was me and my mom and dad and my sister and Meemaw. So she was telling us these stories, and I thought, I need to record this. So I hit record and just secretly just, you know, recorded it by my side. And so she's like right there in the album, like telling this hilarious, weird redneck story that, you know, just kind of like lives on in the music. So that's pretty cool. One of the main things that kept popping out to him was house fire, house fire, house fire. And that's a really pertinent detail. For him to pick up on that was, you know, it was really important for me. There's like a lake, you know, right there.
Nice.
So
awesome. Yeah.
That's cool.
The feeling is that it has such a sentimental meaning. If there's anything that we can refurbish or rebuild or any essence from the past that we can bring for the future to kind of hold on to that sentiment, then let's do it.
Okay. Definitely, it already has good memories put on it. My sister got married on the land when like, I spend time in there when I can, and it definitely still has like great memories. So my Meemaw Barbara was the person that I was definitely wanting to connect to and really hoping that there was some kind of connection to be made there, because there's a lot of unanswered feelings about her really untimely, shocking death. So it made a big impact on me, and I really I mean, damn, it was really cool.
Well, my grandfather,
He's very stubborn.
Right.
And funny. He
Yeah.
has a very dry, dark sense of humor. I'm the closest with him in my family. I really like him. It's really been concerning me. It's just been, I mean, bad.
Right.
They had a pipe burst in his house and it got so bad that he had mushrooms growing in his carpet and he wouldn't tell anybody about it. Like,
Right.
this is how stubborn this man is.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's been deeply concerning me. Like, I don't know how sick he really is because he won't tell anybody how sick he really is.
They're having me talk about residents and a whole family conversation about like an intervention, people coming in and having to basically make a decision. And it looks like this is something to me that I don't feel super comfortable with because I feel like there might be like differences in opinion or it's just one of those things where we're gonna have to kind of be
I
patient
know
with it.
exactly what I'm talking about. My mother and I feel that he should be hospitalized or have a full-time nurse or be in some sort of care to get the help that he needs because he like just refuses it and will not acknowledge, you know, that he's even ill, even though he's very, very ill.
Right.
Yeah, he had a big surgery for that, and I always joke with him that he needs to eat more Brazil nuts because they're supposed to be good for your prostate.
My grandmother passed from cancer.
There's a reference to a woman or mother figure raising kids that weren't hers. There's a Mary association that she's having me highlight. I don't know why.
My grandmother, her name is Mary. I called her Mima. She definitely played kind of like that sort of like secondary mother role. That was like the first time that I've really like lost someone close to me.
And then there's a reference to the hospital situation, but she did say that she wanted to be sent home towards the end. Do you know where your grandmother actually passed?
Yeah, I was at home.
Definitely.
So this roach right here belonged to my grandmother. I called her Mima, and she wore this all the time. So this was hers. The very last time I saw her, she was like, just always stay, you know, that humble kid that you are, always be respectful to people. And she always told me to just keep on keeping on.
Has fertility ever been something you've discussed or been something you're interested in?
It was hard for me to get pregnant.
Yeah.
But I have a child.
Ultimately, I see you being a mother figure to both a little boy and a little girl. And I'm referencing to little girl, little girl, little girl. And I'm excited about this. But I'm definitely referencing to another kid, another kid, another kid. Just not quite right now.
My eggs are in wheelchairs, so it might be crazy.
You are not in a wheelchair.
What about dead people? Anybody around?
You know, interestingly, you do have a grandmother figure that does come through. She's just referencing to a pride for you and then referencing to siblings, and I feel like I take on the roles of what maybe mom should have done at certain points for these other siblings. Even still, there's an acknowledgement that the relationship with mom is not necessarily with you, but with siblings. There's still elements of, and I don't think that'll ever completely resolve. Your grandmother views your mother as stubborn, but I mean, it is what it is.
My dad died when I was 2, and my aunts and uncles who remember him told me that he was very quick-witted, really funny, like just super sharp, but also a troubled, heavy drinker.
So we're gonna take this to the next level because I have a lot more kind of coming through, okay? So, do you know if there's a Liz in the family at all, to your knowledge?
Yeah, without question. That's my mom and the woman who painted this.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's right on every single thing.
For what it's worth, everything you've said so far has been lovely but disconcertingly accurate.
Okay, no worries. Well, we'll see. I mean,
No, in a good way.
Good. There is an acknowledgement in the way this comes through of him basically bringing up this fact of showing me soulmate, soulmate, soulmate. And he's very instinct, like automatic, insistent, very, very, it's like coming through so strongly. It's like soulmate, soulmate, soulmate.
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 Like, what do you mean, me with?
That's what I'm getting at. I'm trying to figure this out.
Yeah, but
'Cause-
I mean, my hands are sweaty. That's crazy.
So like, that's part of what my closure I want to know is like, you know, did she feel me and all of her loved ones were around her? Did she see any of that?
This is interesting. That's the thing. She comes through and has me acknowledge these instances of hope because I feel like I can almost squeeze my hand or move my hand. She does acknowledge that she knows that she was spoken to. She knew that her hand was being held. She knew that her arm was being caressed. And she tried to make a very little movement.
She made sometimes, but she didn't never wake up. It would seem sometimes like she was making progress and move her hand or blink her eyes, and it made us feel like, you know, we gave us some hope. Could she have come back, or was she trying, or did she hear us talking to her?
She's having me acknowledge that on her end, there's awareness that I know that I'm not gonna come out of this. And she kept saying over and over again, she knew how much she was loved. And I kept hearing, and she kept hearing, I love you, I love you, I love you. And from her perspective, that is the last thing that she had to hold on to before leaving this realm. And what a beautiful thing. So she left this world feeling loved and also knowing that it was okay to go. Because from her perspective, she felt like this was the hardest thing, was letting go. And that's why she kept continuing on. She was a strong woman.
Yeah.
She was a strong woman.
Yeah. I was gonna say that that's what I felt. My mom was one of the strongest women I've ever seen. And I know if she let go, she just realized that she didn't want to fight it anymore, and it was, like you said, it was okay.
Right.
And she can pass on, because she would have kept fighting.
Yeah.
I think she was just also tired, like, it's my time now. Like, she accepted it.
Right.
And that's what I felt.
In the months leading up to his passing, I just feel like someone from his past may have kind of either triggered him or put him in some form of a headspace where doing this now would feel like a good idea. Someone just kind of was like, hey, wanna go do this? And then he couldn't not. It's like this person shouldn't have been, that influence shouldn't have been in any way there to trigger me almost. And it kind of comes through.
Yeah.
So that's very much for sister in this way.
Yeah.
Does that make some sense?
100%. My friend Kevin, he lived a couple blocks away from me growing up, and we lost touch. And then I randomly saw him at a recovery meeting, and you know, he was like fresh out of jail and had 60 days of sobriety, and we just kind of picked up a new relationship. We were kids growing up, but you know, him carrying like the monkey on his back, he had very intense anxiety, and it often led him back to relapse.
The horrible thing about this is that it feels like he keeps having me talk about, it doesn't make any sense, going out on a high note, going out on a high note. As odd as it sounds, he's showing me music and he's showing me an arrow, which always references to the future. He's not done, he says. It could mean that what he wasn't able to achieve here, he feels like he'll see some follow through that other people will do in his honor or in his legacy. If they helped create something, then we release the song. It's that kind of thing of like, my name's gonna be attached to it even though I'm not physically here. And by launching this, it honors me. So I know it's a lot to take in, but does any of that make sense? Is there anything that you have yet to release since he's passed? I need you to know that he feels like doing this, he's gonna be able to get the notoriety he wanted and the fame he wanted. Has that been on the plan?
No, but it makes sense.